to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Commissioner Weaver. Also, before we begin, I need a motion to allow Commissioners Brian Scott, David Albritton, and Chris Shearer to participate via Zoom.
So moved. Second.
Okay, do we need to?
This is new,
Okay.
roll call. Voice vote.
Okay, we're okay with that, so that motion does pass. So welcome Commissioner Scott, Commissioner Albritton, Commissioner Shearer. They're all three on. Yes, they are. Okay. Thank you for that. So we're going to go into,
Yeah. Sorry, we lost somebody, but we've got.
oh, we got it? Oh, okay. So we're going to now go into our presentations. Joining us for the Florida Public Transit Association 2026 Marketing Awards, we have Pat Slitt, PSTA's marketing manager, who will highlight the latest awards our award-winning marketing team has won. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. And good morning, distinguished board members. My name is Pat Schlitt. I'm the marketing manager here at PSTA. And I have the pleasure of bragging on our very, very talented communications team this morning. A couple weeks back, PSTA was recognized with not one, but 2 FPTA awards in excellence in marketing and communications. And side note, for those of you watching at home, if you're asking yourself, what are the FPTA Marketing Awards? Well, these awards celebrate the marketing and communication initiatives throughout Florida transit agencies. The voting panel is stacked with transit professionals throughout the country, and to avoid bias, no one from any Florida transit agency is allowed to sit on the panel. Now, these are just the FPTA Marketing Awards, but I want to let you know that in the fall, FPTA will be awarding the General Industry Awards and Best in Class Awards, like I said, later this fall. And we have in good faith that we're expected to bring some hardware then too. With that said, PSTA won the Best Educational Initiative Award for our coffee table book, which you can see on display right here. Our coffee table book is named We Go Your Way, and this book is not just a book, but it's a labor of love. And it took over an entire year to research, write, and design, and the best part is it is completely made in-house. We Go Your Way was written by PSTA's communications specialist, Amanda Boyson, and designed by Justin Foxworth, our graphics designer, with editing support by PSTA's Director of Communications and Marketing, Amanda Baird, and of course, yours truly. This coffee table book was planned in tandem with our 40th anniversary campaign and immerses the reader into over 100 years of history in public transit here in Pinellas County. And of course, this book highlights the success of PSTA and the humans who made it all possible. We Go Your Way also made for the perfect holiday gift, with every employee and board member receiving a copy of this past December. And with that said, I have brought a few extra copies with me if anyone would like one. And I plan to drop some of these books off at our book nook that is located at Pinellas Park Transit Center. And just to give you a little preview of the book, here's a couple of the splash pages we have. But that is not all. As I mentioned before, we won another award. This time, PSTA took home the hardware for FPTA's Best Ridership in Sales Marketing. And this award was for Spark, our newest premium transit service that serves the 34th Street South corridor. Since the launch of Spark, ridership has increased on this corridor, and of course, we'd like to contribute some of that to our robust marketing campaign. I also want to highlight Justin Foxworth once again for lending his talents to design this entire campaign, from the logo you see here to the design of the stations and the route maps. Spark would just not be the same without Justin's designs. I also want to thank the entire communications team and all PSTA staff members who made this campaign such a success. This was a team effort, and I couldn't be prouder to work with a group of subject matter experts. And with that, I will take any questions or comments you have about these awards. Thank you.
So I see no request to speak, but I will tell you, such a success is a tongue twister.
For real. I've been in theater my whole life, and you would think I'd be able to get tongue twisters out, but.
It is a tongue twister. Well, thank you so much for that presentation, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, we're taking a picture today? Okay, we will take a picture.
We're gonna take a quick pic.
Let's take a picture, because I don't see anyone wanting to speak, so.
Well done.
Thank you, thank you,
Always impressed with our staff. You do amazing.
thank you. Brad, would you like to hold an award?
Yep.
Yes.
And then Chair Alexander.
Okay, I'm trying to hide my hand.
Here, do you want to hold the book? Okay, all right. Oh. Here, let me take this. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, again, I did hear Commissioner Reed make such a valid and true statement that we are extremely proud of our staff, and we're extremely proud of the successes that we make, and we're going to continue to move forward and, as they say, be great. Thank you so much for that. So now we're moving on to public comment. If anyone would like to speak on an agenda item or an item not on the agenda, please fill out a green card, get it to staff at the front. You will be recognized in the order that we receive the card. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak? Okay, seeing none, and hopefully I will pronounce this, Ruth Bartlett. And please state your name and address for the record.
Okay, Ruth Bartlett, 12651 Seminole Boulevard, Largo, 33778. I ride the 18, the 59. I've been riding buses for the last 5 years. I came here with 5 different complaints, and in the time since about 8 o'clock this morning, and now I've gotten 4 of them taken care of. One of them happens to be, somebody needs to do something about Largo Mall. I mean, I'm seriously. There are people that come, I had to go from Largo Mall to the 300. I just talked to 2 of the girls and told them my situation. The 59, by the time it leaves Largo Mall and gets to the 300 at the 6 o'clock is left. If I leave Largo, the 59 leaves at 6:17 and the 300 leaves at 6 o'clock. I've got cardiology appointments at TGH and USF. So I can't miss them. Or I take a cab. There's $12 out of my pocket every time I got to do it. So another thing, in the afternoon, between 4 and 6 in the afternoon, if the 59 comes in either north or south and drops people off, they're waiting to pick up the 18 going north to Park Street Station, and then pick up there are 3 buses that the last bus leaves at 7 o'clock, and those people for the last couple of days have been missing them. Even last week, 4 days last week, they missed them because the 18 was late, the 18 didn't show, or 18's got some kind of a problem. And it's the same thing in the morning. When I've had to go up to Clearwater, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting. I said, forget this one. I just, I get frustrated at the 18 going north and south and it not getting there, not picking up. And these people they're crying, and they can't miss work to come and tell you guys. So I told them I would be here and get somebody to look into the 18. Michael? I've asked Michael again, this is the 3rd time, and 2 emails, if he's going to take the 18 or 59. It's right in his hub. So, Michael, take a ride, or I'll see you at your commission meeting. I mean it. I'm seriously, I mean, this is getting to be ridiculous with the 18 and 59. Before October of last year, you used to come in off the 59, and 5 minutes later, here comes the 18, or even 10 minutes later. Never a problem. Now, there's problems right and left. And these are people that come in off the 59 from wherever they're coming from. These are housekeepers, these are cleaners, these are workers. They're coming in, and they can't get to the 18.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bartlett. Thank you for that. So our next card, and please forgive me, Todd Nisoff?
That's good enough.
What is it?
I pronounce it Nissan.
Nisoff, okay, thank you.
All right, I have
Please
another.
state your name and address for the
Todd
record.
Nissoff, 5726 126th Avenue North, Clearwater. I was here a few months ago, and as a follow-up, I had said at the time that y'all need to be riding the bus, which, y'all need to ride a bus at some point, which is not a boondoggle or a event. It's just I'm taking the bus to Target today instead of taking my car just to see what it's like. How many of y'all have ridden the bus? I was here about 5 months ago. So you've ridden the bus and experienced that for the most part. That's good. The main issue that I'm finding since in the few months I've been traveling around since then is with the drivers and the lack of accountability. And, the lack of feeling the need to have, any kind of common decency. I had one encounter which I have chronicled on YouTube, and I intended to send the videos to Vince because he gave me his card. And I will do that, which was I rode the 4B, and I wasn't sure where I was going or where I wanted to go. And I got to the end of the line, and the driver told me I had to get off. So I got off, and then I said, well, I'll just pay a fare and get back on. And he said, no, that's not allowed. You got to the end of the line, you can't get back on this bus. You have to wait for the next bus. And that seemed very surprising to me because I have a fare to pay. What if I have one quick errand and the bus is still here? Why can't I get back on the bus? And I'm using my student ID, so technically I'm not paying out of pocket, but I still have it. I still have a perfectly good bus pass to use, and I should be able to get back on any bus I want. I don't understand if there's a rule that says you can ride to the end of the line, you can't get back on and ride to the other end of the line again. I don't think that's valid. Even if that is a rule, which I doubt. So I chronicled this as well. I walked up to the first stop, and eventually that bus left, walked right by me, ignored me, didn't slow down, didn't stop. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but my only conclusion is that this driver didn't like me. That was my conclusion. I took it personally. And I find it hard to believe that this is an actual rule, that I can't walk up to the next stop and, like any paying customer, get back on the bus and go back north. Yesterday, I was in Tampa, and I walked to the 100 bus, and I understand this is now Hart, not Pinellas County, except it's the 100 bus, which is coming back to St. Petersburg, and I'm at the stop, and at the side of the road, and there's plenty of cubicles, and there's plenty of homeless people sleeping in the cubicles. I was not in a cubicle, I was standing on the side of the road with a bag in my hand. Bus driver passed by me like I wasn't even there and went up to the light. So I looked up, I'm like, that's my bus. And luckily I was able to catch up to it. The light didn't turn. And I went to the window, and he opened the door, and I said, you don't let a person on the bus? And he said, you have to signal.
So,
And I said,
Mr.
"No,
Nisoff, could I
Yeah,
interrupt you for a minute?
I know I went long, I'm sorry.
But that's okay. What I would like for you to do is that video that you mentioned in public comment now in Sunshine Public
Yes.
Forum. All commissioners need to get that video.
Okay.
So if you would, please get Ms. Rachel's email address and send it, and it will be dispersed
Yeah,
amongst all of us.
I have it set up here, I'll send it to the email that she says. And yeah, I know I went long, but I was concerned
But
about.
that's okay.
I was
That is
concerned
okay.
about the part where suddenly I have to signal for the bus. After all this time in St. Petersburg, the lights come on, the bus stops. Now, I understand there's a lot of homeless people
Okay, but I
there.
have to keep the board moving.
Okay.
I have to keep the meeting moving, so
Yep,
thank you
you
so
got
much.
it.
But we
I
do
got
hear
all
you.
my major points in. I will talk with her. Thank you.
Okay, if you would, please get, sir, yeah, if you can send that to all of us, that would be great. Okay, thank you so much. Seeing no other requests to speak and we have no other cards, we're going to now move on to our consent agenda, and I want to welcome the commissioners that have joined us this morning. Good morning. So now, is there any item on the consent agenda a commissioner wishes to pull?
Second.
Okay, we've had a motion and second to approve the consent agenda. Can we please open the machine for voting? Okay, it's not showing on mine, so,
I'm a yes.
so do we have to do a roll call?
Let me see if I can refresh. Did that work? No? You could do a verbal vote.
Okay, can we go ahead and, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye. Aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't,
Aye.
I heard one no.
Who's the no?
No, I think they're just on.
Oh, they
I
were
think
just
they're okay.
delayed, okay. So online, Commissioner Scherer, Commissioner Scott, Commissioner Albritton, you're all yeses?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So the motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much. So now we're going to move to our committee updates. Since our Transit Rider Advisory Committee Chair, Ms. Gloria Lepic Corrigan, is not here this morning, we'll go right to our Vice Chair, Tom Reed, with the Fort Pinellas Report. Good morning, Vice Chair.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chairman. The Fort Pinellas Board held a public meeting on June 8th, 2026 at 1 p.m. and conducted the official board actions. Adoption of the Public Participation Plan, adoption of the fiscal 27 through 31 Transportation Improvement Program, also known as TIP, and adoption of the Transportation Priorities. The board approved the Public Participation Plan 15-0, and that plan explains how Fort Pinellas engages the public in transportation planning. The board also approved fiscal year 27 through 31 Transportation Improvement Plan 15-0, and the Fort Pinellas is required to adopt a fiscal year 27 through 31 Transportation Improvement Plan by July 1st, 2026, to ensure eligibility for state and federal transportation funding. The TIP outlines project details, schedules, and funding allocations for the FDOT, Pinellas County governments, PSTA, local airports, the Port of St. Petersburg, and the Transportation Disadvantage Program. The board approved the Transportation Priorities 15-0, and Fort Pinellas annually adopts project priority lists for the TIP. Federal funding for transportation is predicted on the MPO's adoption of these lists. These lists include multimodal transportation priorities, transportation alternatives, and the Transportational Regional Incentive Program. Also, the Build America 250 Act. On May 17th, the U.S. House and Taxation Infrastructure Committee released a bipartisan 5-year surface transportation reauthorization bill investing in roads, bridges, transit, rail, and highway safety. The Build America 2050 Act sets a framework for future federal transportation funding. The executive director highlighted key provisions and next steps. And the Regional Activities Report, Whit Blanton, the executive director, Whit relayed the discussion from Tri-County Board of Commissioners meeting on a potential regional merger. Key topics included the apportionment plan with consideration of moving from population-based representation to equal representation by county. Questions were also raised regarding MPO funding. Sorry, I thought that was on silent, apologize. Key transportation topics include the apportionment plan with consideration of moving from population-based representation to equal representation by county. Questions were also raised regarding MPA funding and hosting, and the interlocal agreement includes a local funding source of 50 cents per capita. And that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Reed. So now we're going to go ahead and move into our one action item this morning. Is our employee benefits renewal agreement, and joining us is Ms. Trish Collins, PSTA's HR Director, who will review the contract renewals for PSTA employee benefit health benefits for fiscal year 27. Good morning, Ms. Collins.
Good morning. Good morning, Chair Fig Sanders and esteemed board members. My name is Trish Collins, and I'm the Director of Human Resources here at PSTA. I'm also joined today by Sean Fleming. He's our partner at the Garing Group, which is PSTA's benefits broker in the back. So today I'm presenting on an important item to approve the renewal of PSTA's employee insurance benefits. This is our medical, prescription, dental, vision, life, and AD&D insurances. These benefits are a key part of our compensation package, helping us remain competitive and able to attract and retain the employees that make PSTA run. This year, PSTA is recommending renewal of our benefits with our current vendors, specifically Cigna for our medical and prescription and coverage, insurance coverage at an employer portion not to exceed $11.4 million. Also, Cigna for our dental coverage at an employer portion not to exceed $200,000. Versant MetLife for our vision coverage with an employer portion not to exceed $50,000. And Oaks Minnesota Life for life and AD&D coverage for an employer portion not to exceed $85,000. Now, for most companies, medical insurance is one of the biggest budget items, and PSTA is no exception to that. As you may know from your own municipalities, insurance rates are driven by claims costs and loss ratios. And unfortunately, PSTA has had several successive years of increasing claims costs and an unfavorable loss ratio. This influenced Cigna's initial renewal rate offer to us of 15%. With the Garing Group's help, we were able to get that down to 12.5%. And then by making some significant changes to the plan, we were able to reduce that even lower. We increased the plan year deductible. We increased the out-of-pocket maximum. We increased the copay on office visits, emergency room visits, and prescriptions. So we shifted more of the cost and more of the risk to employees, but these plan changes were able to get to the final negotiated rate offer of 7% increase. Now, following some very good discussion at our Finance Committee last week, I wanted to bring back some benchmarking information from around the county. First, this recommended 7% increase is in line with what our other municipal peers are seeing, with renewal rates in the high single digits. Second, the average cost that PSTA pays per employee per year is equivalent to that of Pinellas County. And third, the percentage that PSTA pays for coverage versus the percentage that our employees are responsible for is also favorably comparable to our municipal peers. PSTA pays an equivalent or lower percentage for the cost in comparison to what the employees are responsible for. So our increase percentage, our costs per employee, and the portion of it that PSTA pays is all in line with what we see in the market. Now, this is obviously a very significant cost, and it's an important and large piece of our budget, but it's not out of the ordinary with what the rest of Pinellas County is seeing. Finally, I will mention here that our union is an important stakeholder in these renewal conversations, and they also agreed that this lowest cost recommended option is the best plan for both employee affordability and PSTA's budget affordability. So we too believe that this is the best plan for FY27. It provides reasonable coverage at an affordable cost for both employees and PSTA. And it's at cost levels that are similar to PSTA's peers. I want to thank our partners at Garing Group for their great work negotiating with our vendors and helping us get to this final negotiated rate and helping us look at all of our options as we came to this recommended plan. So to recap, we're recommending renewals with our current vendors at the amounts that are listed on the screen. This expense does fit within the proposed budget that Our CFO, Debbie Leas, will be speaking to her in a few minutes. And I'll also mention that this item, when it was brought to the Finance Committee last week, we did have a great discussion about it, and ultimately it was unanimously approved for recommendation by that committee. So with that, I'll pass things back over to our chair for any discussion or questions.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, are there any questions? Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the recommendations for the PSTA employee health benefits. Is there a second? Did you get those right, Joe? Okay, thank you. Can you please open the machine for voting?
Yeah. What's going on?
We got two.
Well, we got
Way
two.
to go. First time we only had one.
All right, so since this is an action item, can we just go ahead and do a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner Peters?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Walker is absent. Commissioner McCann?
Yes.
Commissioner Hazelton?
Yes.
Commissioner Scherer?
Yes.
Commissioner Nowicki?
Yes.
Commissioner Floyd?
Yes.
Commissioner Weaver?
Yes.
Could we put the voting back up, please?
And also a yes for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, also a yes for me.
Yes.
Oh, I missed some. I am so sorry.
Oh, please.
Commissioner Big Sanders?
Yes.
Commissioner Reed?
Which Reed?
You? Yes. Commissioner Patty Reed?
One of us could have just named it. Yes.
And Commissioner Albritton?
Yes.
Okay, now I think we're good.
So what is the
It's unanimous with one person absent.
one person absent? Okay, so thank you. So that motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So now we're going to go ahead and move into our information items. And joining us is our absolutely phenomenal PSTA's Chief Financial Officer, Ms. Debbie Leos, to present the first draft of our agency's fiscal year 27 budget, which I understand is balanced. Thank you
It
so much for
is.
that.
Well, good morning, everyone. Debbie Leas, Chief Financial Officer. And as we prepare for all of our presentations, one of the things I like to think about is what is the most important takeaway from a slide, or what is my most favorite thing? So I know this is just the cover slide, but to me, my most favorite thing about this is we are now, with this information item, bringing forth the first draft of the budget, and this means that Brad and I will get to meet with each one of you this summer. So this is when you get to ask all the detailed questions, give us strategic and policy ideas to help us formulate the final budget of the year. So this year we had some challenges, and they were unexpected challenges, one of which was the rising fuel costs, as well as health insurance that you just heard Trish talk about. So we met these challenges, and we were able to do so through cutting in various areas throughout the whole budget, through reducing headcount by 15, and 3 of those, and thank you, Commissioner Scott, related to the Mobility AI reservation agents. It's worked out extremely well. In addition, the board has been able to help us through the workshops to reduce costs. At the most recent workshop, we had a table on mobility, and we were able to save there, and I'll be talking more in detail about that. Now, a lot of what you do as board members is you set the policy, the strategy for the organization. So not only with this year, but throughout the years, the board has given staff direction to move forward with a mixed fleet of buses. And what I mean by that is that we have diesel buses, we have hybrid electric, and electric buses. And because of the decisions the board has made, it has really helped us to contain costs in a year when we've had rising fuel costs. So let's take a look at the budget summary, and let's start with this fiscal year 26. In fiscal 26, we had an anticipated budget surplus of $162,000. Right now, it looks like we're forecasting a $245,000 surplus. For next year, with the help of the board and staff, we are now presenting a balanced budget with a slight surplus, not a surplus, but surplus of $231,000. While to me this is a significant dollar amount, in the scheme of a large budget like PSTA, it only represents about 1.8%. And given some of the volatility in the market, that's something to think about. So let's take a look starting at revenues. Revenues comprise of two categories, operating revenues and non-operating revenues. The operating revenues that come from such thing as fares, which are increasing, our contributions towards fares, as well as our new Tampa Bay ferry service. All of this is helping to increase revenues on the operating side by $2.3 million. And this has been a focus of the board for the last couple years. On the non-operating side is our grant funds. In the fiscal '27 budget, we're using $6.2 million, the very last of our CARES Act or COVID-19 relief funds. So these one-time funds will be used up next year and they will be going away. We're seeing an increase in our state block grant funds, and that is being offset by some of our grants only have a 3-year window, and we've seen such success on the Spark and the US 19 services, those grants will be closing out next year. One of the other areas that are part of non-operating revenues is our property tax. And one of the things through the discussions with everything going on is I'm amazed at how many people do not know where their property tax goes. So this dollar bill denotes various areas it goes into, including PSTA, very important part of our budget, as well as each of your municipalities. It's significant for us, even though it represents a small piece of each dollar that we pay in our property taxes. There it goes. Just want to make sure I didn't go past there. Okay. So you may recognize this. This came from the Property Appraiser's Office, and it's a Power BI tool that we each can use to determine what are the impacts of what is happening with going an amendment, constitutional amendment going onto the ballot in November. For PSTA, what this means is we'll be seeing up to a $22 million decrease in revenues in fiscal '28 up to '29 by $22 million. While that is not impacting fiscal '27 budget, I just want to put this out there as it's important to us, and we will be bringing back to you in August what are the impacts to the community that we serve as it relates to this huge decrease. Currently, I've got a .7300, our current millage rate, included in the budget. That does not mean we cannot move forward, and we are looking for ways, and I'll be telling you about one exciting thing that's happened in the last week that'll help save us more money. So we'll be coming to you in July to talk about the max millage for the trim notice, and the board at the last workshop was about 50-50 on ultimately keeping the same millage or reducing it, as Commissioner Peters said, so we can roll forward. So right now, that is what our anticipation is in the budget at this point. So let's take a look at operating expenses. While we're very efficient, we have been tasked with some very significant cost increases. What I want to bring your attention to are the top three: salaries, fringe benefits, and fuel. Those items are increasing significantly in the next budget, and let's talk about each one of those. So for personnel, our personnel expenses represent about 59, including fringe benefits, 59% of our budget. This is lower than most of our peers, not only in the nation, but in the state of Florida. Staff has been able to reduce the budgeted headcount by 15. That is helping us to contain costs in the budget. Here at PSTA, we have two unions. They're both SEIU unions, and the largest one represents our operators, our customer service representatives, and our maintenance team. That contract does not expire until the end of fiscal '27. With that contract, we're looking at an increase of 4% for the top step. This was anticipated since it's a multi-year contract. The supervisors are currently, we're negotiating with the supervisors, much smaller union, it's only about 27 people. And we have anticipated in the budget only 2%. Now, the cost of living in Florida, the CPI is going up 4.8% in the state of Florida, higher than the national average of 4.2%, and we've got 2% in our budget. Altogether, the union increases represent about $2.6 million. Again, we had anticipated this. So fringe benefits, I won't spend a lot of time on this, but the fringe benefits consist of our taxes that we pay, the pension, and the health insurances that Trish just spoke about. So all of this is included in there, and what we're very pleased with, the last time we spoke to you, our health insurance was going up $1.5 million. Now we've got to contain just under $600,000. So at this last workshop, we had several tables, one of which was you all got to sit who were there with Bonnie Sato, who heads up our mobility division, and you came up with some ideas that we were able to cost out since then, and it's saving us over $400,000 in the budget. So we appreciate, as always, the input from the board to do that, and it relates to 3 areas for mobility on demand, reducing the grouper, as well as reducing our direct connect areas. For me, from the CFO standpoint, mobility represents a large part of our budget, and we were able to contain it to just a 1% increase. So fuel. That's me dragging the ship through the Straits of Hormuz. I'm pushing it through late at night. It's just emerged early in the morning. And we have in the budget $3.50 per gallon of diesel for our operations. And since last week when I presented this, we were able to lock in about 20% of our fuel, which represents about 250,000 gallons, at $2.94. So you'll be seeing some savings there. I watch it constantly all day. I've got my staff watching it constantly all day. So hopefully we will be able to reduce some more going forward. And so I'm excited about that because now that will help us to improve our bottom line as we go into the final draft of the budget. Insurances are also going up. A lot of this is out of our hands. This relates to the state legislation changing on the sovereign immunity. So that is increasing our insurance premiums and our estimated liability costs at least 20%. So in summary, I'm really pleased that we've gotten this far where we can present you not only a balanced budget, but one with a surplus that is seemingly growing. And we are looking at not only providing the same level of service, but also adding some new service with this 727 Airport Express service, as well as the Tampa Bay ferries. The ferries you see here have been purchased and we're waiting to be shipped. So we have some next steps over the summer, one of which is coming back to you in August with the final budget. We have, of course, the trim next month, and we have the public hearings in September. Between now and then, we will be meeting with, Brad and I will be meeting with each one of you. I'm looking forward to your comments, suggestions for continued improvement on this budget, to ask any questions you want, as detailed as you want. And as Commissioner Scheer, and I know he's on there, he uses me on occasion as his personal 411 on information related to PSTA, and I absolutely love it. So feel free to reach out at any point in time. And with that, I'll take questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, do you have any questions? Okay, it's not showing on here, but Commissioner Reed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Debbie. Great presentation as always. Can I get a physical copy of the budget book that we've got on our
Yes.
list? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
With the proposed constitutional amendment affecting property taxes that people are going to vote on this November, we see that there's a potential $20 million loss next year. So I had this same thought yesterday in my city's budget meeting, and that was, in order for people to make an informed decision, we need to demonstrate to them what the realities of voting on that are. So we reduced by half what our potential losses were in our budget yesterday. I would like to see what we're going to realistically have to cut to meet that $20 million threshold before everybody votes on it. A real-world example, an informed electorate is the best thing going. And while it all sounds great, and I'm not advocating one way or the other, I mean, I would love a tax cut. Who wouldn't? Everybody wants a tax cut. But there's also real-world implications for that tax cut. And I would like to see something put together on what realistically we're looking at having to cut. It's happening at the city level, the county level here. I think we need to be proactive so that people can make an absolutely informed decision on whether this is what they want to do. And if they do, we deal with it. But you can't, sound bites don't win elections, well, they do win elections, but real elections have real-world consequences. Excuse me. So if we can work somehow to see where we're looking at cutting, I mean, I'd like to see a list of all of the free days and what those cost us. I mean, that's just a small tip of the iceberg for $20 million, but I think we need to be proactive and demonstrate to the people who are going to go vote what it's really going to, how it's going to impact services when it's all said and done.
I could not agree more. Educate, educate, educate.
Exactly.
So what we're in the process of doing now is developing a list of all the things and the impacts that that $22 million will have, and we will be presenting that in August.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Commissioner McCann.
Thank you, Madam Chair. An excellent point from Commissioner Reed. And to that point, am I understanding right, 22 million would just be the first year implication of increasing the homestead exemption, and then the next year it would increase further under the...
It's 15 million in the first year.
Got it.
Up to 22 in the second. No.
Got it. Thank you.
Good question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Nowicki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Debbie, for the presentation. So in one of the earlier slides, you put revenue is up 7.9 million, I think,
Yeah, year to year, correct.
but expenses are up 8 million.
Year to year.
We didn't include that, though. That wasn't a bullet point in
Oh,
the
it is
slide.
on there as a bullet point, but yes.
Okay.
So revenues and expenses are going up, but right now in this year, our revenues are going up greater than our expenses, allowing us to have a surplus that, like I said, is starting to grow.
Yeah, and when we talked, and I appreciate our hour and a half or 2 hours together, I thought it was very informative. You know, I asked about, would we be able to see like actuals of 25, 24, I think even 5 years, I said, going back in the budget book. And so in the slides, there weren't like the actuals, but that's still something I'd like to see, going forward, the actual spend
Okay.
of the last several years, because our budget's not really flat. We're proposing a 6.5% budget increase with this, right? By keeping,
Correct.
yeah. So we're not really having a flat budget. We're having a 6.5% budget increase from last year. And even though we reduced our head count by 15 people, and I'm not one of the people that's going to claim the sky is falling if the referendum passes in November, because I'll be voting yes for it. But that spending would only bring us back to like 3 years ago in 2 years. So in 2028, that would only bring our spending to what we were spending 3, maybe 4 years ago. So I'd really like to see how those things increased over that period of time. So it's not like we're going to have to go back 10 years of spending. It's what we were spending 3 years ago. So if we're
Correct.
saying, we've increased our spending that much in that period of time, and you say things only go up 2%, 4%, and I talked about a budget to spend policy. Why aren't we looking at what we spent last year and doing a 3% budget increase for every line item? We'd still come in with a smaller budget than what we're proposing. So I'd really like to dial in and see those details. And maybe we could sit together again for another hour, and I'd be happy to do that. But yeah, I think it's important if we do an exercise of showing what the tax referendum would do, I think it's important to include, well, this is what we were only spending 3 years ago, to the voters as well, to demonstrate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I see no further requests to speak. And again, thank you so much for the presentation. And that is a lot of information that a lot of us do have to digest, and everyone made valid points today. Okay, so now I see another button has been pushed. Commissioner Hazelton.
Thank you, Chair.
Last year, I think it was last year, that I requested a printed copy of the budget, the proposed budget, and I think that it's so helpful to be able to leaf through that physically, and I'd just like to suggest that all board members have a physical copy.
Okay, we will get you, I'll be
Okay,
happy to.
thank you so much. Commissioner Weaver?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question involves the new ferry service, the purchase of the ferry. And I'm just wondering, and I understand there was grant money to make these purchases, but I didn't necessarily see anything in the presentation that addressed the potential new ferry service. Is there something in your presentation that where that falls, or is that in subsequent years?
We will be starting the ferry service this year. Right now, I have it anticipated 11 months out of the year, so starting in November. That we'll see how that goes with the refurbishments. And what's nice about the ferry service is we've got the expenses that we're going to be incurring that are going to be taken care of between the city of Tampa and the city of St. Petersburg at no cost to PSTA.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner Weaver. I'll wait. Is there any other questions, comments? You did a phenomenal job as well. Again, thank you so much for the presentation that I do appreciate. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to items 8 and 9, which are our reports and correspondence with our future meeting subjects. So Brad, would you like to update us on our reports in our packet as well as upcoming meeting subjects?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. So in your packet are the regular monthly reports on ridership and in the productivity report. There's a PowerPoint presentation in there, and I think Devin Deal, our planning and data manager, presented this presentation about sort of an early look at the trends since we approved and implemented a massive change to the routes. I think the one citizen that came talking about issues at Largo Mall, it sounded like she was missing the connections. We have seen that at certain locations, and that was discussed a little bit. There's a special issue with the routes, including the one that she was writing, that goes all the way to downtown St. Petersburg, and then the connections in downtown St. Pete are making those routes not operate on time. So we're trying to make improvements specifically to make the system better with that. And we'll obviously keep analyzing and trying to make improvements to the service. That's what we always do. Thank you to those of you, many of you who attended the budget workshops. Those were very helpful, and as you hopefully saw from Debbie's presentation, a lot of the discussions we had there got into the budget, or we will plan on discussing later this summer. The idea is that in July we'll have the trim notice vote, and then in September, the 27 budget will be approved. And then in August, to Commissioner Reed's point, that will sort of be a look ahead to the true impacts of the ballot initiative for the homestead exemption increase, and what those impacts would be long-term for PSA's bus service and to the region. Welcome to our new Deputy Director of Community Affairs, Karen Neesmith, who is here. Some of you might recognize her. She previously worked at USF St. Pete, and we're glad to have her join us.
Welcome.
Later on tonight at 6 o'clock, we are having an open house / public hearing on the new Airport 727 Express that Debbie mentioned. This is the first new service from downtown St. Petersburg to Tampa International Airport in partnership with FDOT and the opening of the express lanes on the Howard Franklin Bridge. And so we're excited. We think that'll be successful, and hopefully we'll be able to launch that right at the beginning of the fiscal year in October. Thank you to Vice Chair Reed for coming here and attending yesterday's Monday's ferry vessel announcement. We had a little press conference. The chair of the Tampa City Council, Alan Clendenin, joined us as well, and the Hubbards, because we have officially, as of today, or as of yesterday, now own 2 ferry vessels for the Tampa Bay Ferry to launch. Hopefully, those boats will be shipped to Florida in July and get here toward the end of the summer after being refurbished down in Fort Lauderdale. And then we'll be able to launch the service. Also coming up, right after the 4th of July, PSTA has a advertising contract with the Tampa Bay Rays. They have ads on the sides of our buses, and they sort of did a in-kind part of they paid, and then they also brought an in-kind kind of contribution where their partners get a baseball game a night that is for PSTA, which is going to be on Friday, July 10th. During the whole season, PSTA, there's an ad that plays, I think, before the game on the Jumbotron in exchange. And then on Friday, July 10th, PSTA staff folks we're doing a raffle for the tickets we're given, and then we get to throw out the first pitch. So we've is it going to be you, Max? No. We found in our bus operator ranks, we polled them, and we found a former bus operator who is a former minor league pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. So we can hopefully look pretty respectable with him pitching it, throwing the ball.
I feel some kind of way.
Yeah, I think it's exciting for that. Let's see. Future meeting subjects are in your packet as well. Like I said, next month is the trim notice for the fiscal year 27 budget. We hope to have a item related to the Clearwater Ferry settlement, either the settlement or an amendment to their contract to move forward, as we're trying to still get all of the different plaintiffs to confirm that. Thank you to Commissioner Marriott and the City of St. Pete Beach for approving the funding agreement for the trolley service that goes to St. Pete Beach for fiscal year 26. And then that will come back to the PSA board to approve that next month as well. Those are just some of the things that are coming up on the agenda. But thank you. And if you're interested in going to the Rays baseball game that night, let me know. I might be able to hook you guys up. July 10th. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. Seeing no other questions, do we have any other business? Is there any other business that commissioners would like to discuss? Commissioner Nowicki.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be brief. Brad, do you know if we're still wrapping buses with covering the windows? Are we still because I've seen a couple buses with like all the windows covered. Did that new state law make that not allowed, or do you know if we still have buses with the windows covered?
We do, yes. The state law does not prohibit wraps necessarily.
Okay.
The state law prohibits advertising state paid for buses, which we don't have any of, and most almost all the buses in Florida are not paid for by the state. We no longer wrap buses for PSTA holidays or PSTA use, but we sell ads, we sell wraps. We no longer sell a full bus wrap where the entire bus is wrapped with Morgan & Morgan.
Right.
We don't do that anymore. We do half wraps, so half the bus
Do we still have some old ones maybe that are in service of like wrapping the windows perhaps, or?
Well, I do know, like, I saw one today, St. Pete College has purchased a number where they have a whole side of a bus for St. Pete College. There, we have a contractor that sells those ads, Lamar, which is the billboard company. They sell those ads, and they would like to wrap more of our buses, but we have a restriction on that to just a half of a bus.
Okay, because I thought we couldn't like cover the windows. I thought that was part of it, but.
It's not. It's not great for the customers to have the windows covered, for sure. And so we're trying to figure out if there's different ways in which we can restrict it from covering the windows. But right now, our contract doesn't allow for the half wraps. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure where that leaves us, but thank you. And then lastly, I did notice, there was one slide with board appointments. I think I noticed that two of our newest board members, Ms. Weaver and Ms. Marriott, are commissioners, weren't on any boards, and a couple members had multiple committee appointments. I don't know if there's a way to rotate, our new commissioners in to any committees if they're interested. Obviously, I can't talk to them outside of the meeting about it, so I just wanted to put that out there, that I saw a couple board members on 2-3 committees, and so, but I don't think those commissioners had any committee assignments. So if they have any interest, I'd be happy to support them in a committee, but just wanted to throw that out there for the board for any discussion.
Thank you for doing a nice sales pitch. I had individual conversations with both of them also about that, and to get their interest. And I think the executive committee or the nominating committee will certainly take a look at that to try to get everyone to participate.
Okay, that'd
Yeah.
be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And please know, even though you're not officially on a committee, all committees are open to all commissioners to come and sit in and visit, because I'm not on all, but I do show up for some. So please know that you are welcome to attend. Do we have any board member comments? Does any board members have anything for the good of the body? Commissioner Hazelton.
I wanted to bring back for a little bit of, just thinking about how we're going to proceed, because we did not approve, except 2 years on that contract.
For mobility.
For mobility.
Yeah.
And there was, that was such a robust discussion and meeting and attendance and so forth. And we had talked about the idea that instead of approving the 5 years, we're going to approve the 2 years, and that the board was, my understanding was that the board was going to help participate in coming up with some ideas for this mobility on demand. And then I think you came forth, and I say you as in the staff, came forth with the idea, without discussion with us, about having people wait 2 months.
Yeah.
This was discussed at the budget meeting, that people who go on the website and sign up for Mobility on Demand and can participate either in the scheduled service or the Mobility on Demand with Uber and Lyft, that they have to now go sign in and wait 2 months before they can participate in the Uber and Lyft part of the program, and that if they do not take one ride, at least, am I correct, on the scheduled service, that they're not eligible at all to sign up for the Uber and Lyft. Is that true?
Well, we're still working out the details of the policy. We're thinking maybe that they would be very minimal amount, that they would be eligible, like 2 or 4 trips a month max.
Okay, but excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is this the number that is being reflected in the budget as a savings?
Yes.
Okay, so we're already putting a number of savings on it, but the program hasn't been worked out yet?
Well, I can confirm with the staff exactly the parameters. I was just trying to say we wouldn't cut people off entirely, just down very minimal. And that's the assumption that we've made in putting that number in the budget.
So
Yeah.
other ideas like that could percolate from the board, I think, if we had a workshop on it. I mean, I hate to see, one of the reasons, I think, very important reason that we did not put a one-year renewal on it was because it was made clear that all of these people that were at the meeting, and more, are so dependent on this service that we could not just, go to 1 year, which would not go to a month-to-month. There was no availability on that. So we did the 2 years, but 2 years is going to sneak up real quick. And so I think that we need to put something into motion to get everyone involved in discussing this mobility on demand model, so to speak, because, as you've said before many times, PSTA has been the catalyst, actually, national, to set the model for this, and so I think that we need to, to continue to do so, and to kind of get it in gear, if you will, to use a pun, so that this time doesn't slide away. So that's really my comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Were you going to respond?
No, I certainly agree. We had a discussion at the budget workshop table where we kind of pitched this idea and got very favorable responses from the board members that attended. So we have included it in the draft budget. I think we'll have further discussion about it at the committee meetings and board meetings before we launch it, assuming it gets approved in the budget on October 1st. And then, you're right, in the 2 years will catch up quickly, so we constantly want to analyze, see if it worked, if this actually did mitigate some of the demand and reduce the costs. And then ultimately, like you say, we want to provide the best service for the people that really need it.
Okay, but but this suggestion that I already went through on the availability to new people of the mobility on demand is one small, even on the budget that you're projecting, it's a small amount. There's so many other ideas that could percolate from the board members. I thought that this was something we decided or was said at the meeting, that the board members have an input in these kind of changes. So that we don't even know what those changes might be, but it's an exciting opportunity. So I'd like to see real robust participation by the board if that's agreeable to everyone.
Thank you so much for that. And I do have a strong suspicion that we will be having additional conversations by the end of the year, not only on MOD, depending on the outcome for that. Do our commissioners online, do you have any comments? Because I can't really see if your hands are up or if you would like to speak. All
No,
right,
ma'am.
everybody's saying no. We just wanted to make sure that you are fully included in the conversation. Okay, so with that being said, and I see no further requests to speak, thank you so much for today. And all of the comments have been definitely pertinent, and those that spoke during public comment, we hear you and we appreciate your comments. Our next meeting will be July 22nd at 9 a.m. And so officially, this meeting is now adjourned.